To understand nature's greatest riddle, we look past cold stone, diving to the microscopic scale, an aquatic void filled with the earliest forms of life. At its most basic level, consciousness is the ability to be aware, both of your surroundings and of your own internal state. We experience this awareness every second, yet pinpointing exactly what it is has left scientists and philosophers baffled for centuries. Defining it requires a distinction. While consciousness and intelligence are related, they are separate biological traits. Human awareness is the product of a several 100 million-year sequence of evolution. It is a steady gradient, formed by millions of microsteps. Take a simple stone. A stone is not conscious. It exhibits no behavior, leaving no grounds for assuming it has an inner life. A living self, however, must sustain its existence, replicate, and find energy in the universe. Trichoplax adherens is one of Earth's simplest animals. It moves through the world haphazardly, following a random, looping path. It slows down in the presence of food and speeds up in its absence. This keeps it where food is, gathering energy efficiently. This behavior is automated. It requires no directional intent and no conscious awareness of the environment. The first major step towards consciousness arrived when mobile organisms began to move with specific direction. The flatworm does not simply produce an automatic response to the world. Its actions depend on its inner physiological state, specifically whether it is hungry or sated. When it hasn't eaten, the worm uses sensors on its head to track the strongest scent of food, moving through its environment with predatory purpose. After eating, the worm's state changes. It retreats to a dark, sheltered spot to digest in safety until it is hungry again. But an organism following a scent trail still lacks a concrete mental picture of its destination. To master their surroundings, animals needed to perceive the physical space between themselves and their goals. Vision provided that spatial context. It added depth and a sense of the three-dimensional world that organisms inhabit. An optical apparatus, like an eye, allows a creature to visually lock onto a target from a distance. But if a predator relies purely on sight, the pursuit fails the moment the prey disappears behind an obstacle. This limitation led to object permanence, the ability to maintain an inner representation of something that is no longer visible. By holding this mental image, an animal stays focused on its goal. It can navigate around distractions or obstacles to continue the pursuit. This cognitive skill appears in mammals, can be seen in birds, and 8-month-old human babies. By simulating the environment internally, life gained the ability to remember, extending awareness beyond the immediate present. The capacity to remember absent objects provided a foundation for a sense of time. We see this in delayed gratification. Adult chickens will resist a small meal if they expect a larger reward for holding back. The western scrub jay demonstrates even more elaborate planning, hiding food in caches to retrieve it at a later date. If a scrub jay realizes a potential thief is watching, it will return later to re-hide its food. This requires the bird to read the mind of its competitor, to recognize that another being sees the world from a different perspective. Perspective-taking and empathy serve as tactical tools, allowing organisms to outsmart competitors for resources. Human language amplifies the ability to read minds and represent things that are absent. Words allow us to construct hypotheses and communicate detailed plans for things that do not yet exist. Abstract thought allows us to ponder our place in the universe, scaling from microscopic neural networks to vast societal structures. The ability to build skyscrapers or study the stars is a scaled-up version of an organism mapping its environment to find what it needs. So, how did this network of human awareness actually begin? It traces back to a simple survival advantage, a biological self moving with intent toward a source of energy. Even with the ability to dream about space or write novels, our thoughts remain heavily occupied by where we will get our next meal. We have directed so much collective ingenuity into this primal drive that we have engineered a world where food comes to us with almost no effort. The mechanisms of consciousness were essentially engineered by the primal urge for a snack.